WWE released several names, John Cena and AJ Styles bust out all the tributes, and Seth Rollins beats Cody Rhodes to win the Crown Jewel Championship. I'm Luco and welcome to WrestleTalk. This is my review of Crown Jewel 2025.
Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
But first, news. Fightful Body Slam and the Wrestling Observer reported that WWE released several names from their contracts yesterday evening whilst not picking up some that were expiring. It's quite typical of WWE to release talents from their contracts on a Friday so that it gets buried in the SmackDown news cycle. The names include Jamar Hampton, Brandon BJ Ray, Summer Sorrell, Hayes Jamison, Draco Knox, and Jin Tala, with the most notable names being Lance Anoa'i, Stevie Turner, and Wes Lee. Anoa'i was signed by WWE last year but got injured rather quickly. Fightful's Lake reported just last week that word was he picked up another injury that would keep him on the shelf for the rest of the year. In a Twitter post, Anoa'i said, "I didn't have the best of luck since I arrived. I will not let this stop me from achieving to be great. I've worked hard on the indies for 15 years now. Let's get back to work." Stevie Turner posted, "My time with WWE has come to an end. I've had a brilliant time and I'm so excited for the future. See you soon." Earlier this year, she'd been made the general manager of the Evolve brand. Wes Lee formed the group High Rise in NXT with Tyreek Igwe and Tyson DuPont, but the group hasn't done much of note since the start of the year. It is important to note that these are releases, and thus they have 30-day non-compete clauses. Elsewhere, WWE ID prospect Zadea Steele announced that she's departing the company after deciding not to re-sign with WWE. She tweeted, "I've decided not to renew my WWE ID contract. I'm incredibly grateful for all the knowledge, experience, and opportunities I've gained along the way, but at the end of the day, I have to do what's best for me. I'm only 21 and have already done so much, but I'm just getting started. Thank you." Unlike the releases, Steele is free to work wherever she wants and has already been announced by House of Glory to be facing Indy Hartwell for their women's championship. Zara Sackher has announced that her WWE ID contract has not been re-signed and tweeted that she'll be taking a step back from pro wrestling. Perhaps the most surprising name of the lot, though, is Kylie Ray, who was the inaugural WWE ID Women's Champion, a championship she had to vacate when she announced just a couple of weeks back that she was pregnant. Ray had previously worked for AEW but requested her release. Their split was said to be amicable. Fightful Select report, in addition to the WWE ID contracts that have come to an end, we're told that some were extended. WWE continues to recruit talent for the program. But that's enough news. Let's get into this Crown Jewel review, which kicked off with Roman Reigns taking on Bronson Reed in an Australian street fight which featured Aussie rules footballs and cricket bats, which I understand might be confusing to some of our American viewers because, as we're all aware, you need to know what a crumpet is to understand cricket. This was your standard WWE hardcore match and featured Reed absolutely battering Reigns until he did a Samoan drop through a chair. He kicked out of a Death Valley driver and set up for a spear on the outside but got caught by Braun Breaker. They hit the Shield powerbomb through the announcer's table, which brought out the Usos to make the save. They all brawled, but in the madness, Jay hit Roman with a spear through a table and Reed hit the Tsunami to get the pin, making him, as best as I and our Patreon backers could work out, only the second person in wrestling to pin both Roman Reigns and Kazuchika Okada. Very unique group, I'd say. The other's Finn Balor, in case you were curious. We then got bloodline acting, as Roman Reigns told his cousins that while he loves them, he doesn't want to see them until Christmas. More on that later. Stephanie Vacquer pinned Tiffany Stratton to win the Women's Crown Jewel Championship in a perfectly fine match that really felt much like the TV leading up to it. It didn't really build to much. It went just over 10 minutes, but those 10 minutes weren't spent telling a story in the ring. They just did some stuff and then Stephanie won. Quite underwhelming considering that there was a decent story to be told, as this is Tiffany Stratton's first loss all year. Vacquer cut a nice promo after the match, and the reported plan for Tiffany next is facing Jade Cargill again for the Women's Championship, where they might do a title switch. Before we get into the rest of the show, there's the small matter of Brian Children getting his shot at redemption. We tasked him with interviewing the top stars of Clash of the Comics, and if he didn't cause any screw-ups, he might just get his job back. Well, he handled the solo interviews with Phil Wang and Ed Gamble very well, but what will happen during the sit-down interview with both men where they are contractually not allowed to touch each other? Over to you, Brian. I'm rooting for you, pal.
Hello, it's me, Brian Children, on behalf of WrestleTalk with my final chance. And I've got a huge question for these two who are going to be facing each other at the Clash of the Comics. Am I currently doing an all right job?
Well, I don't know the context. I've never seen you work before, so I mean, to me, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10 at the moment, but if you're normally worse than this, it's probably a 9 out of 10.
Also depends who the alternatives are and if they would do better or if you're as good as it gets.
Well, I'm as good as I get, for sure. Now, it's very, very key that the two of you do not make any physical contact with each other, because otherwise I will lose my job. That being said, Phil, I must ask you about Ed's comments from earlier. He called you a slug man. What do you think?
What, just because my mucus has healing properties? I don't take that as an insult at all. I might be a little slug to him, but he is a liar, a gambler, and a delinquent. He's a thief who stole my belt. And he might have my belt. He might have a cool pair of sunglasses. He might have a debilitating gambling addiction. What he doesn't have are friends he doesn't pay.
Ed, that is a huge allegation. And of course, everyone's been saying that you have stolen this belt. What do you feel about that?
I don't take any of what Phil said as an insult. People say I've got a debilitating gambling problem. I say I have a strong hobby. I've not stolen this belt. This belt was there, open for the taking. It was there. You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. Know when to walk away. Know when to run. And that is the lyrics to a song about gambling, in case you didn't know.
No, that is very true indeed. So who, Ed, do you think will come out on top if things are fair and square between the two of you?
Well, I don't think I'm going to come out on top. I know I'm going to come out on top. I'm a dead cert. I'm the favourite. Imagine this is the Grand National. I am the horse who is still alive after all the other horses have died in a horrific crash on the M1.
Strong words there from Ed, and you must be feeling a little bit scared about maybe the Gamblers Anonymous gang that Ed has amassed. Are you worried about them at all?
That gang of misfits, Rishi Ghosh, who I defeated for that title, and Bullet, who's just a hairy rock. No, I'm not scared of his so-called friends. Employees, really. Ed Gamble, when the fun stops, stop. And at Clash of the Comics, your fun's gonna stop.
The fun never stops for me, Phil Kill Wang. It never stops. It's fun right through the night. The sun comes up, I've got tears in my eyes, I'm still gambling. I'm the better wrestler, I'm the better gambler. Right, we'll do it right now. Right, simple game, simple gambling game. What number am I thinking of?
5.
Well, how? This is...
Come and get it! Come and get it!
That's Brian Children from WrestleTalk. I think they just had a very aggressive double.
Well, Brian, you funked it, mate. Still, that Clash of the Comics sure looks fun. And speaking of fun, AJ Styles versus John Cena was so much fun. Like, this was a blast. It wasn't really a wrestling match per se, but more like being down the pub on a Saturday night with a really good tribute band playing all of your favorite songs. But it's not just your favorite songs, it's the entire pub's favorite songs. So you're all just having a bloody lovely time. There's even a point where you start chanting at the band to play another of your favorite songs, and they tease playing that one too. Off the bat, AJ Styles came out in his 2005 TNA gear, which felt like it was done to pop people like me. When I got back into wrestling in 2005, it wasn't really WWE that made me fall in love with wrestling again after a few years of not watching it. It was people like AJ Styles. I'd actually say Styles was the first new guy I properly got into. So seeing AJ Styles back was rather delightful. Thighs. And this crowd were super here to see John Cena. With the amount of yellow shirts in this blue arena, I felt like I was watching from the inside of an IKEA showroom. It's a totally original joke and not one I stole from Dan Layton. And speaking of stealing other people's material, this match had tributes to The Miz, or Jeff Jarrett if you're cool, Sting, Rusev, Samoa Joe, Chris Jericho, Christopher Daniels, Hangman Adam Page, Randy Orton, The Big Show, Shawn Michaels, and one final tribute to The Undertaker with a hellacious tombstone. And before you argue with me in the comments, I think the chokeslam was a showstopper chokeslam rather than the one that Kane and Undertaker do. Don't at me, I'm not on Twitter anymore. And also, I don't know if the Deadeye really was a tribute to Hangman Page, but I was just having so much fun that I started looking for things that might not be there. And this crowd were having the time of their lives. At one point, they started chanting 619, and well, I laughed that one off because there's no way Mr. Roboto John Cena is going to do a 619, so it was actually hilarious when he teased doing one. AJ even did AJ tributes of his own, like a springboard 450. The most touching tribute, of course, though, was the one to Bray Wyatt. Cena hit the Sister Abigail, and when it came back from the replay, the entire crowd were doing the Fireflies and led a thank you Bray chant. It was a genuinely lovely moment. Cena won with the tombstone and one final AA and hugged AJ Styles afterwards. This was ridiculous fun. The commentators put over that Styles will be hanging up his own boots in 2026, and I don't know if I'm fully ready to accept that just yet. Despite the build for Rhea Ripley and Io Sky taking on Kabuki Warriors being around the drama between Sky, Auska and Sane, because of the country this match took place in, it was all really built around Rhea Ripley. Not that Sky was particularly selling the drama. Michael Cole said during her entrance that he felt so sorry for her because of all the traumatic events that have happened to her over the last couple of weeks. Meanwhile, she's smiling, high-fiving fans and doing her finger point thing. It might be the happiest I've ever seen her. The Kabuki Warriors worked over Io Sky for an eternity to build to the Ripley hot tag. They all did some moves and Rhea and Sky won. The crowd helped what was otherwise a perfectly cromulent match. I'm not saying that as a negative, by the way. Like Ronsil, this did exactly what was on the tin. This is exactly what it needed to be. It was like the first in a series of matches, and it very well could be, as the Wrestling Observer is reporting that Sky and Rhea will be part of the Women's War Games match alongside AJ Lee, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss against Auska, Kairi Sane, Nia Jax, Becky Lynch and Lash Legend. But the main event of this show was the excellently built Cody Rhodes vs Seth Rollins match for the Men's Crown Jewel Championship. The story that led to the finish was told right from the get-go, as the insecure Seth Rollins could not get out the blocks against Cody, and he let the crowd calling him a wanker rattle him. When the commentary pointed out he was being rattled, he rattled even further and had a go at Michael Cole and Wade Barrett. He had gear made up of the 3 previous gears he'd worn against Cody, but those mind games had no effect. He did the Stardust pose, and again, it had no effect. So he went to get the watch. Boy, Triple H really does love wrist accessories as storyline crutches, doesn't he? But Seth didn't want to win this way. If he's going to be the man around here, the actual quarterback of WWE, he needs to do this the right way. Earlier in the night, Paul Heyman told Bronson, Reed and Bron Breakker to stay in the back. Seth needs to do this on his own. So he put the watch down and he gave it his all. But what he gave wasn't good enough. He did this wild coast-to-coast diving headbutt. He hit a crossroads of his own. He hit the manhandle slam. And Cody kept kicking out. So did Seth for the record when Cody hit him with an avalanche crossroads. And in the end, Seth ended up back next to the watch. He picked it up and after a ref bump, punched Cody in the mouth with it. And because of the symbolism, it had a +2 damage buff. He then hit a stomp and a super stomp to get the win. And after weeks of insecurity eating away at him, he reverted right back to cackling Seth Rollins during his post-match promo on the fans. Seth is now the quarterback of this company, and he did it the only way he knew how. Now, according to the Wrestling Observer, Seth is set for some big matches coming up, and that might explain why he won here. They report the next Saturday night's main event will be main evented by Seth vs CM Punk for the World Championship, before Punk teams with Roman Reigns, Jacob Fatu, Jey Uso, and either LA Knight or Jimmy Uso in War Games against Seth Rollins, Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, Brock Lesnar, and Austin Theory. Wait, what? I'm pretty skeptical about this report, not least of which because Roman seemingly wrote himself off TV for the rest of the year with that Christmas line, but also, lol Austin Theory. Like, I know he has connections to Seth, but lol Austin Theory. Well, according to Fightful Select, when Fightful inquired about this, as it seemed out of left field, we were told it is actually one of the options moving forward. The Wrestling Observer say that those War Games planned were as of a few weeks ago. And as we saw on Unreal, there's every chance it's just an option that's written on the whiteboard, not an actual direction, because again, lol Austin Theory. As for Cody, they report he's going to face the winner of Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu from Saturday night's main event at Survivor Series. And given that Jacob is in that proposed War Games lineup, that sets up a Cody vs Drew WrestlePalooza rematch. And speaking of WrestlePalooza, well, Crown Jewel was way better than that, wasn't it? The Cena Styles match was a huge part of it, and will likely be ranked highly as some people's favorite match of the year. The lost TLC video for worst wrestling catchphrases, sorry that got taken down last week, will be live tomorrow, so catch up on the previous TLC video by clicking the one on screen right now.